Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well. I really do hope that. Welcome back to my sofa to talk about football. Today, we're talking about Chelsea versus West Ham, the first London derby of the season, and indeed Chelsea's second game of the campaign. Of course, we are undefeated, but we are winless after our draw against Liverpool at Stamford Bridge. Promising signs, green shoots, as people like to say. But we need more. We need a win. And can we get it against a dysfunctional and kind of struggling West Ham side that are feeling, I don't know, wounded after losing their captain and most important player in Declan Rice? Maybe. We're going to talk about the game today and how it could pan out, so thank you for joining me. I'd urge all of you please to drop a like to support the content, and you are welcome to subscribe if you want to. Right, so stuff's changed since the last game we played. Of course, Reece James has got injured, which is just terrible. It could be months out. Very, very sad, but let's not dwell on that too much. We've broken our transfer record again, and the British transfer record, signing our main target of the transfer window, Moises Caicedo. Excellent, and we can speculate on whether he will start and what formation we're going to play, of course, because it was pretty much a back three against Liverpool last time out. We've also confirmed Romeo Lavia today. I spoke about that on this morning's video. If you are interested in watching that, I'd urge you to go check it out. Now, how essential can I get here without it being... Look at this. Hold on. This is like real sexy content here. Can I... Oh, okay. Whoops. I'm just wondering what I can get away with before the viewers think, yeah, this guy's too relaxed. Anyway, let's talk about West Ham quickly. I do have... They obviously drew against Bournemouth last time out. Bournemouth are not the best team, but at the same time not the worst. They had a little bit of an improvement, didn't they? Of course, they sacked their gaffer at the end of last season. But they were away at Bournemouth. They managed a 1-1 draw. They got 16 shots in that game, only 3 on target. So missing that sort of gunman up front. I want to talk about how they lined up. It was a 4-2-3-1 from old Davy Moyes. They are going to massively be missing Declan Rice in the midfield. They play Souček and Paqueta, Lucas Paqueta and Souček in a double pivot. And then they have a front four of Said Benrahma and Jared Bowen. And perhaps 4 Nels as well behind Michail Antonio. To be honest, I know everyone talks about West Ham being screwed, but that seems like a relatively formidable front four, all things considered. And, Souček, we know he was very successful at times at West Ham, and Paqueta as their big signing to originally partner Declan Rice, but we all knew Declan Rice was on the way out eventually. Man, so, it's not bad. And then, of course, they've got Aguerd, which I suppose is a new centre-back. Of course, Chelsea old boys, Emerson on the left-back position, Kurt Zuma remains in central defence, and then they've got Soufal as well, of course, and Areola in goal. So a 4-2-3-1. What will Chelsea do to counter this? Well, I subscribe to the Pochettino 4-2-3-1 formation being his preferred tactical approach, his preferred formation, and many analysts and people who follow Pochettino over the years will tell you the same thing. So on that, I know Poch post-match after Liverpool explained he didn't really think it was a back three formation. Well, I thought it was a back three formation, mate. He's one of those gaffers that sort of think everything's a bit fluid, which is probably how it is. The big question is Moises Caicedo good to go to start in the midfield? Because I reckon if we answer that question with a yes, he's good to go, then you start him, and then it means you can start him next to Enzo Fernandez in the 4-2-3-1 formation, and you can play that preferred formation. You don't need to play 3 centre-backs. That's what I think. And also, this isn't Liverpool at home on the opening day, big nerves. This is no disrespect to West Ham, but of course they are a different proposition. It could still prove to be a very, very tough game, and Chelsea will be keen to get that first win. And of course, you speak about their captain going, we're without ours, and Reece James being injured. So let's talk about how we will approach this. I think we will go 4-2-3-1. We will go to try and score goals. In goal, we will have our new official number 1 goalkeeper wearing the number 1 jersey in Robert Sanchez. I think Pochettino's... I think that the goalkeeping gang, the multitude of goalkeeping coaches we've got at Chelsea, their long-term designs were to make Robbo first-team goalkeeper, yeah. And I think what's testament to that as well is Kepa really laying it on thick when he arrives at Real Madrid about hopefully wanting to stay there. I mean, you can understand that anyway. I think Kepa's not got bad feelings towards Chelsea. Won a Europa League as a starter, Champions League as a squad member. But as a Spanish goalkeeper who's 28, who knows his current teams in transition, just regardless to where you are, if you have a chance to go to Real Madrid, you just go, yes please, especially if you're Spanish. But yeah, I think the long-term designs for a while have been Rob Sanchez as number 1. So for me, he starts in goal. The fullbacks pick themselves. Ben Chilwell starting at left back, being an integral figure in Pochettino's Chelsea tactics. Of course, we've spoken about it before here on the channel. Chile himself has explained how the tactics dictate he is the furthest man forward in possession. And a defender who's ahead of the strikers. It just shows you how the modern game, how fullbacks is so important in the modern game. And it was kind of skewed, and the right back tucked in a little bit into a centre back, Reece James, who will now be unavailable. So of course, Malo Gusto will come in, and Malo Gusto will play at right back. And he is dynamic, he gets up and down well, but what's impressed me most so far about Malo Gusto is the fact how he's so defensively resolute. So if we are indeed to maintain that kind of tactics and that role of the right back tucking in a bit, Malo Gusto looks like he could be excellent at doing that. Now, this is interesting. If we are reverting to a back 4, like I think we should, and therefore maybe predict we will, who do you play? Who do you play? Do you play Thiago Silva? Did we see Thiago Silva in the back 3? Because Pochettino is in the same school of Thomas Tuchel and believes to utilise Thiago Silva. Now you need to play a back 3, which by the way is no slight on 39-year-old, or in a couple of weeks 39-year-old Thiago Silva. In fact, it's a compliment to him, because they're like, we need to get this guy's immense abilities into this team. So I wonder. I think maybe we'll start Levi Colwill and Axel Disasi, a left footer and a right footer, 2 strong young boys. Like I said, I don't want to try and be like derogatory towards West Ham, because every game in the Premier League is just so tough. It's not like how it used to be. A few years ago, there were just bad teams in the Prem. There were really good teams, but there were a few just stinkers. And when you came up against said stinkers, you could do a few tests, but you don't really get that anymore. All the teams are really, really good at every level. So I don't want to disrespect West Ham, but this is an opportunity that a team is in its own transition to go for plan A, and not be too cautious. And plan A, I think, is 4-2-3-1. And I think maybe if you need dynamic legs, you play Disasi, right footer, strong guys, all clearly big on confidence, because you scored a lovely finish on the opening day in our first and only goal so far in the campaign. And Levi speaks for himself. A decent amount of Premier League experience, good international experience, with the under-21s, winning the tournament in the summer, and being the most appropriate profile on the left, especially with Badiashile maybe not up for... Because you could make an argument, play the Monaco centre-backs, the French guys, the friends, Badiashile and Disasi, but I think, all things considered, Levi Colwill completes our back 4. And then the double pivot, well, we all want to see it, don't we? We all want to see Enzo and Moises together. The £220 million, engine room double pivot. I don't think we can talk about Lavia, because he's just been announced today, he arrived yesterday. He's not going to be a part of the tactics and plans for this game. He'd probably be on the bench and, get thrown on, but... there's such an important part of the pitch, the double pivot or the engine room and midfield, especially in a 4-2-3-1. Of course, Fernandes and Caicedo, both being native Spanish speakers, will be able to have intense conversations with Mauricio Pochettino about the tactical instruction and what's expected of them in this game. So I think they're probably both good to go. And fitness-wise, Caicedo looks, super fit, ready to go. We know Enzo's fit as a fiddle and seemingly can play forever. Imagine if you could, because just on a quick tangent, Enzo went from like the league in Argentina to Benfica to the World Cup to Chelsea, and there was no like breaks because I think the scheduling's different in South America. I think so. He just never had a break and played. Not only did he never have a break, every manager played him every single game, whether it was Potter, whether it was Lampard or Salter or Pochettino. Everyone's just he will always play him. So dude has never got a rest. Imagine if we had that kind of athletic fitness consistency in Reece James. Like, I'd want to make this like a morbid, sad video about the Reece James injury, but it is an absolute bummer. Anyway, so I'm going to predict and hope for that double pivot, the first choice double pivot, which leads me on to the front four. Nico Jackson will start as a striker up top. But who is going to start in the three behind them? This is real tough. Raheem Sterling, who's not the flavour of the months of Chelsea fans, actually did play pretty well for the most part against Liverpool, and he is that kind of senior player that you can lean on. Maybe there's an argument that in the absence of your captain Reece James and Thiago Silva not starting, you just need some seniority somewhere on the pitch, and Raheem Sterling will offer that in the front three. So I think yes, he's going to start. It could be on either side. But I know I'd like to see Mikhailo Mudryk start because we all want to see him. He's talking big things at the moment as well. He's like referencing Vinicius Junior's first season at Real Madrid to his first season. I don't think he even needs to do that. Yes, he's clearly got loads of self-belief, but I think he just needs to, just get on with it. People understand Chelsea was an absolute circus last season. His home country's at war. Like there's lots of mitigating circumstances for Mudryk. And, he obviously was slam dunked mid-season into an absolute dysfunction of a football team. So there's a lot of mitigating circumstances for him. Whether he'll start or not, I feel like he'll just have a couple of bench appearances. I do think maybe Sterling will start on the left. I kind of want to see Ian Maatsen start because he was so good in pre-season. With 3 goals, 3 assists. He had a good link up with, of course, Mudryk. He's got a good link up. I personally, I know we haven't seen Noni Madueke yet, but we'll probably need to see him have decent minutes off the bench before he's integrated into the starting lineup. So for me, this is not massively necessarily a prediction. I'd be very interested to learn what you guys think, who's going to start in the comments, but I've gone for Ian Maatsen on the right-hand side. And then, to be honest, this is really interesting. Chukwuemeka looks like he can combine very, very well with forwards. He's very direct, and despite being quite tall, he's you don't really, people who play in like the pocket, the hole or whatever, the number 10 position, they don't physically look like him much, but in terms of is it lanky stature, but I think he could start there. But I'd be very interested to see Conor Gallagher get a chance there, because of course he's been played in the double pivot because Pochettino sees him as an industrious, capable player to run around, get the ball off people and give it to Enzo. Now, touch wood, if Moises Caicedo starts this game and plays that role, it would be interesting to see Conor Gallagher just given a go in the number 10, and I'm going to select him as my number 10 just for that reason. Of course, sub-appearances in that case, you could say, first one, say on 60 minutes, Sterling for Mudryk, give Mudryk, a good 30 minutes to express himself. You could even say Noni Madueke. I don't know how close Breuer is to being able to have minutes off the bench. And indeed, Chukwuemeka for Gallagher in the 10. You could maybe see Lavia, come on, depending on and obviously Chilwell's fitness in the game. You can maybe put Cucurella there to shore up a little bit. And that's what I think. So in terms of how the game will go, I think it will be 4-2-3-1 versus 4-2-3-1 again. West Ham will be defensively resolute. Despite being at home, it's not like they're going to go gung-ho for Chelsea, especially when they're not in a moment of confidence. So they will play defensively, which makes me think also Mudryk's very good on transition. We won't get that many opportunities to transition onto West Ham. So we're going to need to try and unlock them with just, passing around essentially. I think it'll be a tough game, although I'm going to start having to be I want to be confident. A good Bournemouth side drew with them, but I feel like with more time on the training pitch, settled now, Moises, Caicedo there, I want to get a clean sheet. Even though it looked like we could concede much more than one goal for a minute there against Liverpool. It looked like they were going to run away for it for about a 15-minute period. I know they were better than us for maybe slightly longer than that, but for 15 minutes I was like, oh God, this is going to be a long day. Literally as that Salah goal went in and, of course, eventually was ruled offside. I'm going to say 2-0 for Chelsea against West Ham. I feel like we have to start being confident again as Chelsea fans, right? No, we have to. Eventually, we're spending frigging like 115 million quid on midfielders. We know we've got young, talented attackers. We know the team is exceptionally fit and athletic now. Eventually, you're going to have to start growing in confidence again. And I'm going to say 2-0 win to Chelsea at the London Stadium against West Ham in the London Derby. So let me know what you think. I'll be very keen to learn your thoughts, feelings and opinions by reading the comments. Please do comment down below. Hopefully you've enjoyed this style of content, mixing it up a bit. And I'll see you guys very soon. Peace, man.